Hey guys, and welcome to season 2 of the Songwriters Lounge. Season 2. We are back, and we are better than ever, aren't we, Tom? Better than ever.
Season 2.
Season 2.
It feels like it's been a long time coming. We've been so busy behind the scenes.
We've
just
been
getting
cooking
things
some
sorted and arranged.
Yeah, cooking some good stuff behind the scenes, guys. So it
It's
all
been
starts
fun.
now.
It's been fun.
It's been a lot of fun. It all starts now, and this is the first kind of interview that we are doing as part of season 2. So we're still going to do the same artist spotlight kind of episodes, but this season we have got some incredible people on to share their knowledge, etc. And the first one up today is Landon Austin, who is a fantastic artist from the US. If you've not heard from him, he is big. Well, he was big on the YouTube scene at the very, very start, and really he's got an interesting story where his first song that he wrote really elevated him from the start. But he's a really humble guy. You're going to really enjoy this interview. The guy has 260 million streams on Spotify, and every day that's growing, which is an incredible number. And we found out, didn't we, Tom, that he beat like Maren and Kacey Musgraves in a competition. Couldn't you believe that?
Yeah, that is wild. You think of like the level they're at now,
Yeah.
and then like he beat them. He beat them. He came first in a songwriting contest out in Texas, and like Andy said, like his first song elevated him, which you're going to hear now.
Yeah.
Really interesting story. Great guy, absolute gent of a guy. Actually, just very modest. Completely does everything on his own. He's got no management, nothing. It's all him. So that's interesting to keep note of as you're listening to this one.
Roll tapes, guys. Enjoy the interview with Landon Austin. Hello people, we are back for another episode of the Songwriters Lounge, and today we have another very exciting interview for you. We have an amazing artist all the way from the USA, and I say that because I'm on the other side of the pond, but Tom's over that end, and he is in the form of Landon Austin. Landon, welcome to the show, my friend. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Cool. Now, we know you're a busy guy, so we massively appreciate you coming on the show. I guess for some people, just give an initial introduction for anyone who maybe hasn't came across you yet.
Yeah, so I feel like I'm kind of a strange musician. I started on YouTube about 10 years ago, posting these goofy YouTube videos. And, for some reason, it was a blessing. They took off. And as a result of that, it kind of launched me into a career of touring and songwriting and production. And now I just write songs and put them out on the internet and hope for the best.
And
That's awesome.
you do, yeah. I mean, you've done loads of kind of stuff on YouTube at the start, and then you've kind of built into your, an artist as your own right. I think you've done a lot of covers along the way as well.
Mm-hmm.
I guess what we love to start with on the show when we interview you guys is we want to know really, like, what is the root of music for you? Like, where did it all start? Like, your early life?
So I mean, I started playing guitar when I was probably 9 years old, and honestly hated it. I thought it was the worst thing ever, but I started because I was bad at sports. And as I got into high school, it became I became better, and it started to hurt less, and I just started to enjoy it. I thought it was really a cool thing, and I'll never forget. I wrote my first song when I was 17, kind of this goofy song called "Waitin'," and I entered this thing called the Texas 10 Under 20, and it's this competition they hold in Texas, or at the time they held it every year, and they pick 10 musicians under the age of 20. And I entered my only song that I'd written, and they picked me to be a finalist, but they said the catch is you have to perform 2 original songs that you've written this Sunday. And I submitted this song on like a Thursday, and I'm like, I only have 1 song. So I skipped school on that Friday, went home, wrote a second song, played at the competition, won the competition. And the craziest thing about that is the second place person was Kacey Musgraves. The third place person was Maren.
No
and who are now
way.
massive
No
country
way.
rock stars. Like literally, like it makes no sense that I beat them, but whatever, it worked out for me. But
That
they're
is
amazing
cool.
stars, and it was kind of cool. And that launched me. I got to open for the Fray, and I had to write a 30-minute set. And really, ever since then, I've just been obsessed with songwriting and creating music.
That sounds so cool. So there's, I mean, that sounds like an amazing kind of, yeah. That
Oh my gosh!
what an
Not even for me,
opportunity.
but for them, they were amazing back then, and it made total sense that they blew up because they were awesome. And I just still looking back, I'm like, how in the heck did I win that thing? It makes no sense.
So was it like a mistake? Did you come across like a flyer with this like competition, or like how
Yeah,
did?
maybe my parents paid off the judges. That's probably what it was.
No, no, like how did you find out about the competition?
Oh,
What
you
did
know,
it come
it's just
across?
something I couldn't even tell you how I found it. It's just something I always knew about growing up, and
Ah,
um,
okay.
I just had entered this song and they picked me, which is a godsend. And I wrote that other song and won. And it really kind of just gave me the bug for songwriting. And because before then I had no reason to write a song. It's like not like something I really cared about. But they're like, hey, we need 2 songs. And then when I won, they're like, you need a 30-minute set. And I was like, I have 2 songs. So it just got me into it.
So it's like the performing under pressure really came
Oh,
into effect.
refined by fire, 100%, 100%.
Wow, that is a story, man. That is really cool. So I like that. So it's kind of, it wasn't like one day you woke up and you were like, I'm going to be a songwriter today.
Oh,
Uh,
not at all. If
it
anything,
just kind of,
it just kind of happened to me. Like it was a complete miracle because I always had loved music, and really my passion was playing guitar. I mean, I would skip parties and stay home on Friday nights to practice my guitar because I love John Mayer and I love just guitar skills. But then when I had to write some songs, I was like, wait, this is actually really fun too, and something I'm even more excited about. I look at my life now, fast forward 10 years, songwriting is 100% what I'm excited about, and I'm so thankful that it happened because I really don't think I would have known unless that happened.
maybe subconsciously, you were always going to
Yeah.
unlock those kind of songs that
You know what?
just,
It probably would have happened anyway. It's just the
yeah,
way that
yeah.
it did happen is pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's class. Now, so take us from there then to the journey when you started with YouTube. What was the kind of the transition there?
Yeah. So that's actually another crazy story. I feel like what got me into this is wild. So I went to college at Belmont University. It's in Nashville, and
Oh,
this place
nice.
is known for music business. It's known for songwriting and all these music people. And I went there to get a business degree, study finance. I had no desire to actually pursue music as a career because I wanted to be realistic, or I wanted to, be able to pay my bills, or at least that's what my parents told me. So I went there, got my business degree, and I was in bands the whole time I was there. But my freshman year when I got there, no one knew I did music. And my dad was reading the paper. And on the front page of the paper, they said that Doritos was throwing a competition called Crash the Super Bowl. And they wanted musicians to enter original songs. Well, fortunately, I had my goofy song that I won the Texas 10 under 20 with. I entered that song, and they picked me to be a top 10 finalist for Doritos Crash the Super Bowl. I'm like, man, this song is paying dividends. This is awesome. So, like, literally the first song I ever wrote. It's
That
the
is
wildest
nuts.
thing. Like,
That is
the most
nuts.
success from this
Must
goofy
be a
song.
great song.
It's I'm not going to say it's a great song, but for whatever reason, it served its purpose. And
Yeah.
they paid me like 10 grand. They flew me to LA. I did this massive music video in downtown LA, and
Wow.
the winner of this competition was going to have their music video shown during the Super Bowl as a commercial, like a 30-second spot, during the Super Bowl. And
Wow.
mind you, that's a $5.4 million
Yeah, that is
spend on their
huge.
part, like
Yeah.
big deal. So I end up getting top 3 through online voting. And when it comes down to it, I'm sitting there watching the Super Bowl. I'm in Phoenix, and they don't play my song. They play Kina Grannis, who's a very successful singer-songwriter. And it makes total sense that she won. Like, she's amazing, very talented. Her voice is amazing. She's beautiful. And so I got second place. And that's kind of what got me into YouTube, because I had to get people to vote for me. So they told me, you need to start making YouTube videos to promote your music. So I started releasing a video every day. Hey, go vote for me. Here's an original song. And again, I got the bug for YouTube then. And so when I lost the competition, it's really all I had left. I gained some fans from it and from losing, but it got me into like a YouTube career, so to speak.
That's
Dude,
so
well,
cool.
That's what year was this? Do you remember?
2009, 2008.
Oh, nice.
So it's been a minute. It's been about a decade.
It's been a wild ride. Wow.
Yeah, it has
So
been a
then,
long ride.
so you've done quite a lot of covers
Yes.
on YouTube and kind of collaborations.
Yes.
And Did that just happen, or was that like, you know what, I'm gonna network, I'm gonna kind of grow out my kind of
Yeah,
my feel of the industry with people and
right. So, I mean, when I started doing the YouTube videos, I'd do goofy vlogs or whatever, and they'd get some views, but it wasn't enough to pay my bills. So I'm newly graduated from school. I had a job selling insurance. Didn't really like that, so I quit. I'm valeting cars, but I don't drive stick shift, so I'm just getting yelled at all day, which was terrible. But I would come home at night and watch YouTubers. I'd be like, I know these guys are making money doing this. I know they're paying their bills. How can I do this? So I ended up emailing like 50 of them, and one person responded, and his name was Luke Connard. And I started talking to him. He and I did a cover song, and really just kind of falling into that space, I learned that there were people making a living doing this. So that led to me going to LA, collaborating with people, doing cover songs. And cover songs were kind of a means to an end. It was to make money, it was to grow an audience, and to really sustain my career, get it going. And it really did. I mean, from doing that, I started getting hundreds of thousands of views, a couple 100,000 subscribers. It enabled me to start touring. And what was so cool from that was after building an audience doing covers, when I would release an original song, they would do just as well, if not better. So it really helped me build an audience, which transferred over to my original music as well.
I love that, and that's quite a key story, I think, for a lot of people around about that time. Because I remember watching a lot of these covers, and you had a lot going into them. There was huge production going into them, huge collaborations across people's channels, and it was a big deal. It's a big audience platform. And maybe now it's kind of more transferring to like Instagram and TikTok and stuff, but that was definitely the place to do it, wasn't it, back then?
Oh, I started at the perfect time. I mean,
Yeah.
first off, it wasn't as competitive. So if you search for a song, you would find me or 5 other people who were doing it. And the search results were amazing. It was very organic. You'd get a lot of new fans just from posting a cover of a popular Justin Bieber or Taylor Swift song. Now, if you were to start that today, it's very competitive. And it's something that I'll dabble in still. I don't do it as much anymore, but it definitely served its purpose at the time.
Yeah, definitely. Got in there at the right moment when it mattered the most, eh?
Yes.
That's brilliant. So across that period then, we like to ask people who come on the show, obviously there's a long path. It's not just like one day you wake up and you've made it, right? Or you're able to have a career in music. But what was the kind of defining moment in that timeline that you thought, you know what, I've kind of had my break. I'm maybe able to do this. Was it like day one when that first song you wrote was, recognized in that competition, or did it happen kind of years later, somewhere down the road? What was that kind of pinch me moment?
Of course, yeah. The two competitions I did, they were great. Don't get me wrong, and they got me some following. But the moment I was like, wow, I can do this as a career, was when I posted my first YouTube video. And like I said, it's a total God thing. Like literally, this video blows up. I got like 700,000 views on a Pumped Up Kicks cover. I'm like, what? And then I sold a ton of them on iTunes. I probably made like 10 grand on iTunes sales. I'm like, this is crazy. And so I was like, I'm gonna do a video every 2 weeks. And so every 2 weeks, I'm churning out a cover song and a video. And I started selling a ton of songs on iTunes. And it was crazy. I would like make thousands of dollars a month just selling cover songs on iTunes. It was wild. And that was really cool. That paid my bills. But the moment it became real for me was when I played my first show. So I toured prior to YouTube, and it was fine. It wasn't great. It was fine. But the first show I played after YouTube, people would like show up and ask me about my dog. They'd bring me my favorite cookies. They were like, they knew my like weird things about me. And I was like, this is crazy. They're like not only invested in my music, but they care about me as a person. And I was so thankful for that. And I was like, okay, this is a tangible thing. And it was 100% because of YouTube.
That's awesome, man. Where was that show? Do you remember?
I don't remember, but I remember I started touring probably the spring after I started doing videos. And at first it was like small places in Texas, like Abilene or something weird like that. But I'll never forget I played this show in Wyandotte, Detroit, or Wyandotte, Michigan. And that's just kind of a small town. I think it's near Detroit. Don't quote me on that. And it's a coffee shop. And I'm not joking. It was so full. There was not an inch of space. Like there were people sitting behind me, and I'm like playing in Wyandotte, Michigan, which is the most random place in the world. And the place was packed. And I'll never forget that, being like, how the heck is a coffee shop packed in Wyandotte, Michigan? And it was because of YouTube, 100%.
That's amazing.
So cool. So cool.
It was awesome.
So I want to ask you this because what I really liked when I kind of looked into a bit more beyond the music about you before you came on the show is I really liked you've kind of created this the Independent Artist Academy, and you've kind of on some of your videos as well. You've kind of said that a kind of something on the side that you're passionate about is like the business side to music.
Yes,
Do you want to just kind of talk to us about that and how that kind of where that came from?
Yeah, I think one thing that a lot of artists neglect is that they don't spend time learning how to monetize what they're doing. They maybe spend a lot of time working on their songwriting and production, which is so important. I mean, if you're going to spend time doing anything, it should be improving your songwriting. But there's so many opportunities to monetize what you're doing, and a lot of people neglect that. They don't spend the energy. They'll spend all this time creating a song, but not learning how to make any money from it or how to get an audience for it. So the Independent Artist Academy is an online course. It's a bunch of pre-recorded videos, pre-made content that people can kind of go at their own pace. And it just teaches you like all the different royalties you can collect. I mean, there's a lot of royalties that I didn't even know about. And so it teaches you how to do that and just different ways to monetize it and get more streams on Spotify. Because, I mean, it's great to make an awesome album, but if no one's going to hear it, what's the point, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to survive as well in this day and age where the game's changing, isn't it? With, back in the 80s, with CD sales,
Right.
people would make serious money, and with streams now and that kind of shift, it's tougher, isn't it? You've got to be that kind of savvy mind to make money. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you really do. And that's something I'm very passionate about. I mean, you think about the 90s, or you said the 80s even, like, if you wanted to make it, you have to play a Barbie night hoping you're getting a record deal. Now,
Yeah.
there's so many people who I would call it's kind of created a middle class of musicians. So the internet has kind of created this space where people like myself can make a good income without a manager, without a label, without I have nothing. I literally have a guy who does my emails sometimes, and I pay him by the hour. But other than that, I don't have a manager taking 20% of my income or giving me connections. It's all based on things I've done online, and that's through Instagram, it's through YouTube. I don't do a lot of TikTok, but if you're new and young or whatever, definitely get on TikTok. I mean, that's the way that people are doing it now, but you can't neglect these opportunities.
That sounds like a busy, busy life.
It's very busy and it's very crazy. I love it though. I love the freedom and I love the independence. And I'm thankful I've been doing this probably 10 years plus, and from that, being able to build an audience that's faithful and loyal is a huge blessing. So that's kind of helped sustain everything too.
Cool. So should we get on to what this is all about and play some music?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So we've got a song that before Tom even said to me we're getting Landon Austin on the show, I was obsessed with this song. So this is one of definitely my all-time favourites of yours, and we're going to play it now. It's called Once in a Lifetime.
Great.
But you hold on to me. I'm under your skies. I'm caught in your eyes. Don't you know you stop the room? And all that I can see is you. I'm standing where the lightning strikes. I know this doesn't happen twice. You must be my once in a lifetime, in a lifetime. You must be my once in a lifetime.
Tom, what do you think? That's the song that every girl wants sung to them, isn't it?
It's a funny story, Landon. Like I've been a fan of yours for a long time. So I used to live in Australia, and I heard this song, and I can't remember. It might have been on YouTube, to be honest. And being like a guitarist myself, I'm instantly drawn to guitar parts that kind of weave together. And you've got the lovely like, don't you stop the room, and then you've got the like you've got like that alternate melody that kind of sits so nicely in there. So that's what drew me onto it, and then I listened to it more and more, and I love the song, and I just think you did a great job. Was it you that wrote all those guitar parts, or was there like a producer?
No, it was kind of a collaborative effort. I worked with a really good friend of mine here in Nashville, and we worked on that. And I appreciate that. I'm glad you heard it kind of organically. That song, it's just so funny. Like you work on a bunch of stuff, and you never know what's going to kind of succeed or what's not. And that song has just been like a huge opportunity. It's resulted in a lot of organic results, and so I'm thankful for that. And I'm always thrilled to hear when people enjoy it. That's cool.
And is there anything about the song, either songwriting or production, that you're most like chuffed? Like you're just like, I love that bit. I love when I wrote that bit, or I love that lyric. Or is there anything like in particular about the song that you just love?
So in that song, I'm standing where the lightning strikes. I know this doesn't happen twice. You must be my once in a lifetime. So I love lyrics. Like lyrics
Yeah.
are the things I'm most passionate about. And I loved that lyric when we came up with that, because I'm like, okay, that's really cool. Standing where the lightning strikes. I know this doesn't happen twice. You must be my once in a lifetime. I loved the way that played off each other.
And was the song about a someone at the time, or was it like about a story, or?
Yeah, it was. It was about a girlfriend that I had for a while, and that's a whole nother podcast. But it was
That's another episode.
It was about
That's another episode.
Yeah,
That's
but it was about
that's
a girl.
yeah, that's the cuts at the end, isn't it, Tom?
Oh, man.
I agree with what you said, man. Like, I love clever lyrics like that you've got like the happen twice, strike twice, once. It's very cleverly written. So it's interesting to hear that that's the part that most.
Awesome, thank you. No, those little nuggets in songs are my favorite thing ever. So
Yeah.
anytime we have a song where like lines play off each other like that, or that makes it all worth it to me. Those are the best.
And did you produce the song yourself, or did you work with a producer?
I had a producer back then. This was before I knew anything about production, and so he did a lot of the production. But we kind of, collaborative effort.
Brilliant, cool. Whereabouts was it? Tracked in a studio, or was that in Texas?
Just a home studio here in Nashville.
Ah, brilliant! Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, the results you got from the guitar, like the clarity on the guitar, and it sounds like really nice, both like recording like technique, but also EQ treatment, just to really get that clean, just raw acoustic kind of vibes. And that's something that personally I'm a bit like Tom. I just loved the decoration on either side of the stereo field. That's my favorite.
No,
part.
that speaks to working with good people, because he was a great engineer and great at mixing and all that. And this is literally when I knew nothing about that stuff, and so he did a great job on that.
Cool.
Do you remember what? Just one more question, mate. Do you remember what mic was used for the acoustic?
If I had to guess, it's probably the one I'm sitting next to, a Manley. We used a lot of that on vocals and acoustic guitars. This has a lot of high end. It's a beautiful, crisp mic. If I had to guess, it's that. I know I did my vocals on that mic.
It sounds awesome, man. It sounds lovely. Like the vocals are really, really well performed and produced.
Awesome. Thank you.
Nice and airy. Cool. Right. Let's go into our next song, which is a bit different, and it's called "Feel Something."
Always fades. So tell me, what do I do if I can't have you? 'Cause all I know is when I'm with you, I feel something. So I'm hoping you'll stick around, and I'm sorry I keep calling, but I really need to tell you now. 'Cause with you, baby, I breathe. Oh, you. And when I rest my eyes, I see it every time. So don't tell me with nothing. 'Cause when I'm with you, I feel something. With you, I feel something. And I've been doing things I know I shouldn't do, but nothing seems to get me right. I even told myself, baby, that I quit you. But what I give for one more heart.
Yes, we love that. I love
like
that
it,
one.
man.
Awesome. Thank you.
I particularly like how much space you left in the verses. Like, is it the same vocal mic that you used?
I think I do every song on this mic you're looking at. The Manley cardioid.
Yes.
This thing, I
Well,
love it. It just brings out the high end so well.
The top end is so nice
Crisp,
on
yeah.
all the vocals that you do. So speaks not just to the mic, but the performance and the production
Thank
as
you.
well. But
Thank
I love songs that leave space like that and leave character for the audience to kind of almost fill the gaps with their story they've got in their mind with a song.
Yeah.
Really enjoy it, man. I like that one a lot.
Awesome. Thank you.
So is there anything about that song in particular that, like, what's the story with that song? How did that kind of come
So
about?
it's actually this song. I believe the next one's a song called Now. These are both songs I wrote about a breakup. I was in a relationship for 4 years, and when we broke up, I didn't know what to do other than write songs about it. It's kind of therapy, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just funny because Feel Something and Now both have done very well, which is really cool. And like I said before, I don't ever know what's going to succeed or not. I'll put out a song and think it's my best work and people don't like it at all, or I'll think it's not that great and it'll blow up and do great. So, but one thing I've noticed really transcends is the songs that are really like honest and about things I've actually been through tend to do the best. That tends to be the link or the consistency. So Feel Something and Now the next one are both songs that I wrote about a breakup, and it was just pure honesty, pure this is how I feel, trying to hold nothing back, and they tended to do pretty well.
I think people can tell when they listen to music that's like raw like that, and it's not kind of written to be cool or to be romantic or to be like something. It's just like it's came from that like authentic place. I think people resonate with that, and I also want to mention like, so the listeners that are now listening to these tracks in succession, like certainly for me, like there's a Landon Austin sound where it's like you've got this kind of, you've got obviously the airy vocal that's your kind of signature on your mic that you're talking about, but you've got this very kind of acoustic, kind of ballady, singer-songwriter-y vibe. Was that something that you, again, just kind of developed, or did you ever think, you know what, I'm gonna try and write a rock song, or I'm gonna, did that just never cross your mind?
So what's funny is I'll never forget, I worked with this very talented songwriter and producer in Nashville a long time ago when I started, and something he told me, I've always felt like I'm very limited. I don't feel like I'm the best singer. I'm not the best writer. I'm not really the best at anything. But something he told me, he said, your weaknesses are what set you apart. And I really believe that now. So the reason I don't write country music, I'm not crazy about it, first off. But second, I don't speak the language. I don't know what they're talking about half the time. I don't write rock songs because I'm not the biggest vocalist. I'm not a very powerful singer. I'm very like soft-spoken and that kind of thing. So I really just write the only thing I'm able to, and it's like singer-songwriter vibe, and I tend to be pretty emotional when I write. Like I don't like to talk about my feelings when I'm talking, but like when I write, like it's literally therapy. It's just all that stuff comes out, and I think it just kind of relates to how I feel in my life. And I also grew up listening to John Mayer, who's like my favorite songwriter, and it's funny because listening to him growing up, it made it hard for me to write songs as an adult because he doesn't really follow any typical formula. Like I remember he has this song called My Stupid Mouth where you don't hear the chorus for like a minute and a half. And I remember the first, like when I started writing songs, people were like, hey, we got to hit them with the chorus. We got to write, it's got to be hookier. It's got to be these things. And so I think when it comes to my songwriting, it's a mixture of, yes, I want to appease the listener and give them something catchy, but I also want to be real. I want to talk about what I'm going through. And because if it's not real, it's not going to relate. And I don't think I'm that great at really much of anything. So I just kind of have to master what I am good at.
Yeah, I like that. And there's a lesson there, like where you've kind of found your niche and you've kind of, you've just honed in on it. You've focused on it. You've become a master at it, and you've got success. And I think people as well that are listening to you maybe now both love you for that and expect that as well. So, they'll stick around for your new stuff in the hope that, you'll get, okay, it'll be different, but it will still have that Landon Austin signature vibe, and that's cool.
Yeah. I think that's cool. And I'm not going to sit here saying I'm a master by any means, but I definitely know my lane. And like, I listen to Ed Sheeran, who can like do these really cool rap, like acoustic things. I don't have that much swagger. Like, I'm like, it'd be so cool if I could do that. Like, it's kind of like rap style verse or whatever. I'm like, man, I just don't have that swagger. Like, my lane is emotional, whether it's like super in love or super heartbroken ballads. That's my lane.
Tom's got that swagger, don't you, Tom? You can rap.
I wish I did. I wish
It's a freestyle.
I have his accent. I don't have his swagger.
Yeah.
Well, the accent's cool.
Cool, right. So we'll go to the last song then, which is called Now, and Landon's already touched on it, and it was written at the same time as that. So that's quite cool. So
I'd say within the same month, yeah.
Oh, wow. Right. So let's go and play some of that now. Pardon the pun.
Cause I don't know who I am without you, and I got all these stupid plans are made for two, but still everything reminds me of you. Cause I'm used to you being around. What do I do now? I try to eat but I big for one. So I hug the pillow thinking of ya, 'cause I'm used to you being around. What do I do now? I'm used to you being around. What do I do now? I'm used to you being around. What do I do now? So tonight,
Yeah, I like that one.
I saw you.
I particularly love the plucks in that. Quite
Oh,
different.
you like that?
Yeah, I quite like the plucks and the kind of synth. It's just a bit more kind of synthy, and it's again like it's still for me got that Landon Austin vibe, but it's developed, it's evolved in a weird way in there.
That
and
was
I like
probably
it.
like the first song that I put out that, because very much my lane before was Once in a Lifetime, acoustic, like very sweet, romantic. This is the first probably like sadder song, and it was definitely less acoustic. I don't think there's any acoustic guitar in there. It was definitely outside of my lane at the time, but it definitely opened my eyes to what my audience likes. And I'll never forget, I put that song out, and it just immediately blew up, like immediately started getting millions of plays, and I think now it has 21 million or something. And the funny story about that is, so I dated this girl for 4 years, and when we broke up, it was devastating. I thought this was someone I was going to be with for a long time, and we broke up. I saw her at a concert with her new boyfriend or whatever, and I went home that night and wrote this song. I was like, this is too weird to process. But we dated for 4 years, and I put out this song, and it did so well that it literally paid for our whole relationship of 4 years, which is so funny to me if I think about like the business side of things or the math of things. Like my heartbreak, as terrible as it was, ended up making this thing that people connected to, and that like kind of covered the financial burden of dating someone for 4 years. It was weird. It was like a weird like silver lining. Like my heart was broken, but at least like I got paid back.
Yeah, that
Silver
is.
lining is like such a great way to explain it as well.
It's the silver
is
linings. Like, I
hilarious.
didn't really want to have my heart broken, but at least my wallet, I got the money back. That's
If only it could work that way for everyone.
I know.
Like
I know.
everyone that gets a heart broken, they're like, oh, but at least I'll get my money back, right?
Yeah, it's like it never happened except for the 4 years of pain. But at least I got the money back. It was expensive. It's expensive to date someone for 4 years. And
Oh
pay
yeah,
for
you,
everything.
you're
So.
talking about it.
Love it.
Yeah, man, I love the listening just to those three songs. I love like the kind of natural sense of melody you have, and a lot of the time with our listeners, they'll ask us questions like, how do you write melody? Do you just put something on loop and then think
Yeah.
about it too much, or is it natural? What would you say yours is? Like, is it just first take and you're like, this is great?
No, it's never great the first take. Ever, ever, ever. But the writing process for me is coming up with a chord progression, humming a melody over it, and once I have a melody, I like writing words to it, and then completely scrapping the melody I have and rewriting that melody a million times. So I'm in the middle of a song right now where I thought the melody was awesome until this morning when I heard it back. I'm like, this is terrible. So I'm going to spend the next week just trying new ideas, and then when it comes to tracking the final vocal, I'll play with the melody some more. I'll play with the words some more. It's a work in progress from start to finish, but I'm definitely not the kind of person who ever writes words and then writes a melody to it. It's always, I got to have at least a melody idea that I write to first.
Same as me,
Yeah.
mate. Same
Yeah,
as
I'm
me.
the same.
Yeah.
I always find it weird when people say that they write like what's like a poem and then they like make it into a song. I just find that so difficult. So difficult.
It is difficult. It's funny, I guess, when you do music, how people want to send you their poetry and like, hey, can you make a song on this? And it's like, I'd love to help you out with that, but that's not how I work.
Yeah.
And it would be terrible. Like, I have to have a melody I like that I'm excited about before I can write words. And what's cool about that is, at least for me, I feel like a melody can lend itself to just producing like really cool words. So like I'll be humming over a song and humming over chords, and just a word comes out or a phrase comes out, and then I'll build the whole song around that phrase. So that's how it works for me.
I love that. So we've got some questions now, not from me and Tom for a change, from our listeners, and we're going to play them to you now. This first one's from Alex.
Hey Landon, this is Alex, big fan, listened to you for a long time. I have a question for you. If you could write a song for any artist alive or dead, who would you write a song for? Who would you most like to write a song for?
It's a good question.
Okay,
That is a tough
the
question.
to write a song for them to sing or to write a song for them?
Let's go with like write a song for them.
Yeah, let's go for that.
Oh, like I care about you so much I wrote you this song, that kind of.
Oh no! So like I'm guessing what he's saying is like
Like what artist?
Yeah, for them to
Yeah.
sing. Sorry.
Oh, for them to sing. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Justin
Let's do that.
Bieber. I'm a
Justin.
big believer. I think his voice is the best. I think
yeah,
Bieber
so
has
good.
the best voice. That song, Anyone, is so good. Oh my gosh. I would love
mate.
to write a song for Justin Bieber.
As soon as I heard that, I was like, this is going to be huge.
Instant
Like,
classic.
that hook was just...
Oh, it's so good.
And
so good.
it's instrumentally quite simple, but it's so, like, powerful. And I was just like, it was just perfect. I loved the production. Loved it.
It's so many classic songs are so simple, but
Yeah.
it's not simple to make them, but they make it sound
No,
easy.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not easy.
That's the best ones, isn't it? That's the
Yeah,
best
you're
ones.
They really
His
are.
voice is great. It
His voice
makes
is so
everything.
good. Oh.
So
What,
good.
what a good question.
What a good question. Thanks, Alex. Next question up is from James.
Hello, Landon. James here from sunny Newcastle upon Tyne. Just got a question about how you come up with songs and how you write songs. So, being a guitarist myself, I'm always curious about how people do this. Do you come up with the guitar part first and then stick the melody or lyrics on top, or come up with the melody first and the lyrics and then stick the guitar over that? Cheers.
So I think we addressed it a little earlier before, but I will say this.
Yeah.
What's funny is I never write on guitar, ever. I always write on piano.
No way.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think it's because I played guitar for so long. I'm just kind of burnt out by it. So I'll write on a piano, and I've taught myself piano in the last 5 years, and I'm not great at it, but just write over some chords. I think it really lends itself to be easy to write over, and definitely doing melodies first, 100%.
Yeah. It's an emotional instrument, isn't it?
Very emotional.
Definitely.
I love the feels, you know.
And you love the feels.
Love to feel the feels.
He's all about the feels.
I
Brilliant.
Love me some feels.
Love me some feels. This one is from Jenna.
Hi, this is Jenna from New York, and I just want to say that I am so excited that you're coming on the podcast. I have followed you and your sister on Instagram for a while, and I love the music, and I've also seen all of the stuff that's been happening with you being put on The Bachelor and all of the things happening with your mom and your sweet family, and so I just wanted to know how all of those experiences recently have affected your songwriting. Thank you.
Wow.
That's a big fan.
That's a big supporter.
Thanks, Jenna.
So for those of you who don't know, my sister's like kind of really well known on Instagram, and I didn't know this until I knew this, but I didn't know this until recently. I can't go anywhere with her without her getting recognized for her Instagramming. It's insane.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
And, we go to the airport and people are stopping her, stopping my mom, and they all live in Dallas. I'm in Nashville, so I see it online, but I don't feel it until I'm with them in person. And so my sister told her, long story short, I got stood up by a girl on a date. And so my sister told all of her 1.2 million female followers that I got stood up, which is kind of a blessing and a curse.
Yeah,
Because my phone starts blowing up of all these people and telling me I'm sorry. They're sorry that I got stood up or whatever. Not a big deal.
Oh, no.
And so Danny, my sister, set up this online bachelor for me where she told her followers to send in videos and if they want to go on a date with me. So they sent in hundreds of videos and then they picked 3 people for me to go on dates with. And I ended up going on these dates and picking a winner and all this stuff. So that's the backstory on that. And that's been insane. And
You're a lucky
it's definitely impacted me personally. I'm not going to say I've written a song about it yet because I don't know what the angle is. I got stood up, but it's kind of cool. I got to figure out the wording for that.
Yeah.
And then on a more serious note, my mom has been, she's doing better now, but she was fighting cancer, was on treatments and finished her treatments. And she's actually in Nashville visiting me now, and she's feeling a lot better. So
Oh, good.
that was very
Good.
hard. Haven't exactly written about that yet. I had some ideas, but I don't know. That's a whole nother thing. So
Totally.
to
Totally.
answer her question, you have to live your life if you're going to write songs. With me sitting in my studio every day writing a new song but not living life, I'm not going to come with anything. So these experiences are going to lend themselves to new songs. I know they will in the future. They haven't yet, but from the result of meeting new people and dating and all this stuff and living this life, I know that good things are going to come from this.
Good. I love that answer, man. And wish your mum all the best from us
Yeah,
here.
please.
Big time.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Cool. So on to the next one. This is Chris.
Okay.
Hey, my name is Chris, and my question was, what would your advice be to someone who is a complete beginner to songwriting or someone who is completely new to songwriting? Thanks.
New songwriting.
New to songwriting.
I think everyone figures it out in their own way. I don't think there's one right way to write a song, but I will say listen to a lot of music. I mean, whenever I write a new song, I love to listen to my favorite artists, kind of see what they're doing, see what the formula is. And not that you have to stick to a formula, but it's good to know kind of what's working and what's not. One thing I've noticed recently, a lot of songs these days, I listen to Top 40 Pop. A lot of songs are shrinking. That's because Spotify, you get paid after you get played for 30 seconds. So the incentive for an artist is to make a 2.5-minute song. There's an artist, I think his name is Bazzi, I can't say his name, but his whole last album, every song was 2.5 minutes. And that blew my mind because I remember growing up when songs were 4.5 minutes long.
Yeah.
Songs are shrinking. So that's something to keep in mind. Not that you have to do that, but like intros are shrinking. Like there's certain tricks and trends that are happening, and they're happening for a reason. Another trend I've noticed is a lot of people aren't writing bridges anymore. And it kind of blew my mind, but like, okay, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try not writing a bridge. And I actually really liked it. And then I only throw in a bridge when I absolutely need it. Those kind of things, again, there's not a formula, but it's good to be aware of what the trends are.
Yeah, I like that. And I've noticed as well, like, introductions are almost becoming like a thing of the past because it's like the verse just starts. It's like straight away vocals, straight away, like, hit into the song. And
because okay, when you listen to Spotify playlists, I know for myself, if there's not a vocal within like 10 seconds, I'm probably going to hit next.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest. My attention span's very short. I've emailed with you guys. You know I'm terrible. My attention is very short. So the point being, you have to catch the listener very quickly. If you're trying to get your song playlisted, you're trying to get to the masses, you got to catch their attention pretty quick. Another thing, a lot of people are opening with the chorus, and that's something I never do, but my next few songs, I'm going to try that.
Cool. I look forward to that.
Or they make an intro with the chorus melody on the guitar or piano or something. Again, catch their attention immediately. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, this final question is going to make you laugh because it's from a gentleman who I'll let him introduce himself. Here we go.
Oh, no.
Hello, I am known as Mr. Banana Hat, and I live in Denmark. And I would like to know which of your songs you are the most proud of.
Mr. Banana Hat, in case you missed that.
Your head's best mate.
Banana Hat. So, song I'm most proud of. Oh, that's a hard one. I mean, I think I'm proud of different songs for different reasons. I think Once in a Lifetime, it definitely has reached the most people. I've seen the most success from that, so I'm proud of that. My song Now, that's the most real. Feel Something, they're very real, and I'm appreciative that I was able to write those and like use them as a cathartic experience. I have other songs that haven't done as well that I'm proud of. There's a song called Love Song that was very personal to me, just about my experience. It's a whole story, but I don't know. I would say I have multiple songs that I'm proud of for different reasons, and that's a whole thing.
Love that. Yeah, it's not always a clean cut answer. Oh, it's this one song, because each song means something different, doesn't it? So,
and I'm not a parent, but in a small way, like you always ask, like, who's your favorite? Like, you can't pick a favorite child. Like, my songs are kind of my like musical children, not to be weird.
Yeah, I love that.
Parallel.
I love that. Right, so that is basically our show, and thank you so much, Landon, for coming on. Guys, if you have not heard, if you haven't already started to follow this guy after listening to those snippets, then we are going to link all his stuff, Spotify, you name it, in the episode description. Go give Landon some love because he definitely deserves it. You will not be disappointed at his other material outside of this show. I guess just to wrap things up, Landon, before you go, what's next, my man? What's the future looking like?
I'm trying to put out new songs all the time. After we close this conversation today, I'm tracking vocals on 2 new originals, and I think it's every day just working on new music, and that's really it.
That's the grind.
Love that.
It is a grind, but it's worth it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Dude,
cool. Well, thank
you so much for coming on, man.
Hey, thanks for having me on. This is really fun.
Absolute gentleman.
Y'all too.
We'll be following you closely, man. I can't wait to hear some more stuff.
Yeah, you too. You guys too.
It's been a pleasure.
Yep.
Thank you so much, dude. All the best.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Hey guys, I think it's time for a cheeky songwriting challenge, don't you? This is where mid-podcast episode I challenge my buddy and co-host Tom to write a vocal hook on top of an instrumental provided by our podcast sponsors Jet Tracks, and I make the theme deliberately hard for him, so good luck Tom, it's Frying Pan.
Into the fire, you know how the saying goes. Got me sizzling like bacon when you can. When you can. got enough oil in there, you're gonna burn all the house down. Now I've got a rubber grip and girl, you're loving it. My oil is bubbling, you gotta rub it in. Got me feeling like a frying pan, frying pan, frying pan, frying pan, frying pan.